every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Omotayo Alo. In our top stories tonight, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. Now the news in full. The Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama, Abuja, has admitted the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, to 300 million naira bail with two sureties. Metu has been prosecuted on a fresh charge bordering on destruction of confessional statement it tendered while in EFCC custody. Justice Ishak Bello ordered that the sureties must swear to affidavit of means and show address of occupancy that is traceable. An Abuja High Court sitting in Maitama has fixed 4th February for hearing on the application filed by National Security Advisor Sampo Dasuki asking the court to stay for the proceeding on the trial. Dasuki is being prosecuted before the court on 19 counts of diversion of arms funds along with former Director of Finance and Administration in the office of the NSA, Shuaibu Salisu, and the former Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Aminu Babakusa. Two pro-Biafran activists have been remanded in prison by a magistrate court judge in Port Harcourt on allegations of conspiracy. This came after Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike put a ban on all unlawful public gathering, rallies and protests. The name of the suspect are Friday Uhahiri and Enam David, both resident of Port Harcourt. Our correspondent has the details.
A magistrate court in Port Harcourt has remanded two pro-Biafran supporters in prison on a 2-count charge of conspiracy. 54-year-old Friday Nwahiri and 30-year-old Enam David are accused of conspiring with a number of others to incite violence in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Governor Nyesom Wike had on November 10, 2015, banned all form of unlawful public gathering, rallies and protests in the state to ensure safety and protect lives and properties of citizens in the state.
Purporting to represent the indigenous people of Biafra, have held unauthorized protests on the streets of Port Harcourt. Majority of these individuals have come from neighboring states, and in the course of these protests, disrupted social and economic activities, damaged properties, assaulted and inflicted injuries on other citizens going about their lawful endeavors. Ordered that all forms of street protests, demonstrations, rallies, or unlawful gatherings associated with agitation for the secession of any group from the Federal Republic of Nigeria are banned in Rivers State.
Counsel to the accused persons, Echezona Mboka, had challenged the jurisdiction of the court to try the matter. Echezona also applied for the bail of his clients and asked that the matter be struck out.
Against a court that does not have the power to try the matter by the police. So what the court usually do is an aged that immediately the accused persons are brought to court and the court does not have jurisdiction to try the matter, there are two things the court can do. Having inspected the file to know whether there are enough evidence to form the ingredients of that offense before the court can order for remand or grant bail pending when the police are ready.
Meanwhile, the presiding magistrate, D.N. Nwajoku, has referred the matter to the Department of Public Prosecution for advice.
A two-day sensitization committee on illegal arms workshop and small arms and light weapons has been organized in Kaduna. Stakeholders at the workshop urged locals to give timely information that will help security agents curb the menace. Furthermore, traditional leaders were employed to sensitize their followers on their roles in the fight against the spread of illegal arms and weapons circulation. Our Kaduna State correspondent has the details.
The Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons wants government to come up with measures that will help in controlling illegal circulation of arms. Speaking at a two-day sensitization workshop on small arms and light weapons in Kaduna, stakeholders also want locals to give useful information that will help security agents curtail the menace. According to the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, electoral violence, unemployment, poverty, youth restiveness, and communal conflicts have been identified as the major drivers for people who acquire illegal arms for personal use. The committee therefore called on religious and traditional leaders to sensitize their followers on their roles in the fight against the spread of illegal arms and weapons circulation.
Basically, the committee is trying, first of all, to sensitize all Nigerians as to the needs for the control of proliferation of small arms. In trying to operationalize this, you have to get the support of all this. In Nigeria, we can control arms, small arms. If across the border in Niger they don't control it, you're wasting your time. You know? Right. So part of the things we do also is we have been able to establish collaborative relations with both the UN and the sub-regional organizations like ECOWAS, and also individual countries, so that we make sure that we have done that. We have also succeeded in arranging courses, training for our security and border personnel, UN and the Kofi Annan Center in Ghana and places like that. So basically what we have been doing is we've been doing a lot of groundwork. See, if you're going to make a building, you start with the foundation, and we are trying to make sure we get the foundation right.
The program coordinator, Dixon Urgi, says the locals need to assist the security agents with useful information in combating the circulation of dangerous arms that lead to crisis in our communities.
As Boko Haram and across board, we discovered that several hundreds of thousands of lives have been lost due to the use of small arms and light weapons. Without small arms and light weapons, I'm not sure we would have lost the number of people who have lost. And I'm not sure we would have lost the amount of property so far lost. You build a house today, maybe a health center, another 1 second, they use IED to destroy it. And then when people are sick, there's nowhere to go to. You destroy your schools, how do you go to school? You destroy your markets, how do you feed? You chase farmers away from their settlement, how do they grow crops to feed or feed the nation? So these are the challenges of small arms and light weapons. And that is the reason government is concerned, government across the world, from the United Nations to AU to ECOWAS, And that is why several efforts are being put in place to combat this challenge. And that is what gave rise to the creation of PRESCOM, the Presidential Committee.
The aim of the forum is to come up with ideas that will bring about absolute control of circulation of illegal arms in Nigeria, which is believed will bring an end to crisis, insurgency, militancy, armed robbery, and other vices affecting the socio-economic growth of the country.
Statistics show that kidnapping in Nigeria hit its all-time rise in 2013 with the activities of militants in the Niger Delta region. Therefore, it is crystal clear that what started as an expression of vengeance is fast becoming a booming venture in all parts of the country. On our flagship program called Digest, analysts extract at the root of kidnapping and the solution on how the government could curb it. Victoria Solomon has the rest of the story.
Kidnapping is not new in Nigeria, and it is one of the country's biggest challenges. Nigeria faces problems in education, unemployment and corruption, but kidnapping has drawn the attention of both Nigerians and international organizations. Facts and figures show that the frequency of kidnapping in the country is high. Makneza Fashion, a legal practitioner, blames the loss of core values in the country as the cause of kidnapping in Nigeria. He believes kidnapping will not stop if our values are not checked and adjusted.
And then when there's a breakdown in these core values, I'm using the name of your television. When there's a breakdown in core values, you get the consequence. The German philosopher Hegel says that in every state of things there's a contradiction which the conflict of the opposite must resolve. So the kind of thing we are getting in our society today as an implosion of a Leviathan society where everybody's unto himself and God is for us all, is a consequence of a lot of things that had happened in our national history.
On his part, public affairs analyst Ismail Aniemu says the cause is attributed to the breakdown of morality in Nigeria. He also claims the situation must be treated from the roots for Nigeria to recover from it.
Politicians, leaders of thought, some influential persons in society feel that the only way to always have access to what they want to do is to get some persons armed. You saw the recent Bayelsa election. The people wielding arms in these places are people who can metamorphose from being political thugs to kidnappers.
Furthermore, Gbala Oba, an analyst, says kidnapping in Nigeria is due to the failure of the government and also loss of harmony in the state.
It's just a total failure of governance at all levels of our society and the concomitant effect of anomie that pervades our society.
As more cases of kidnapping emerge, it is the hope of Nigerians that its speed will reduce, and with time the police will do its best to stem the tide. Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Minister of State for Solid Minerals has described Taraba State as one of the richest states when it comes to solid minerals. The minister made this assertion as he visited the state on the fact-finding mission in respect to mining activities in the country. Udwa Godwin gives us the details. We bring you details of that report later. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Fatai Owusheni, has launched a new phase of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad to check the excesses of the unit, cases of impersonation, and give the Nigerian police a decent identity. In a chat with media, the Commissioner enjoins the public to be security conscious, as security is everyone's responsibility. In a bid to improve the policing method of communication in the state and make the police more accessible, the various police divisions in Lagos have official mobile telephones to receive distress calls at any time.
Coupled with the changed mandate of President Muhammadu Buhari, the Nigeria Police Force has embarked on a mission to change the face of the police and the mannerism of the uniformed men to conform with best practices around the world, thereby making them accountable to the citizens.
We now have a SAS where we have the striking unit and the investigation unit. And the reason why the first leadership embarked on that is to check the excesses of that unit, so that it won't be that it's the people that go out to go and effect arrest that will still come back to come and sit in judgment and say that they are conducting investigation.
While lauding the force, the Commissioner of Police reels out achievements in the past months.
We were able to arrest 31 armed robbery suspects. And from those armed robbery suspects that were arrested, a total of 12 arms, that is pistols, rifles, and locally made ones, altogether, totaling 24, were recovered from them.
Yes, he gave me receipt with his name and original receipt with custom duties and madam, I wouldn't know, since he said that he want to sow into my life. We're not looking at the value of the car. He said it was a gift, that you just appreciate him with something.
Pastor even called me again that he need a car of 250 when police was tracking me, and I was with police. Police lead me to go and they said I should go and slam one Camry. Said I want to buy a Camry of 250. That's why police said, okay, that we arrest the man, because first time he buy a car of 350, balancing 150. Now they want to buy another Camry, 250.
In the bid to improve the policing method of communication in the state and make the police more accessible, smart policing is adopted.
Our policing method should be public friendly. The other time we launched in Lagos what we call the application of a platform that we call Smart Police. To complement the Smart Police application that is launched, the command has acquired a desktop telephone. The desktop telephone would be at the charge room at the counter of every police division's area command and some principal officers of the command.
The security agency nevertheless urges citizens to be vigilant and security conscious as part of their civic responsibility. Sarah Ayoku, CoreTV News, Lagos.
In part 2, after the break, NLC gives 14 days ultimatum to Governor Rochas Okorocha over mass retrenchment. Join us again.
Because I want to be a doctor and help people when they are sick. I want better education and training so I can be a soldier and protect my country. I want better roads to avoid accidents so I can get to school on time safely.
For topical issues, Nigerians must have something to say.
Arms. We don't need arms for anything. Let them put it into education.
They need to buy another arms now. What are they fighting for? Who? Government should deal with them squarely.
Please help us bring back our guests. No money, no markets. We are dying. Everybody is crying. Nothing.
Any man God support, no man stops.
It's a prophecy I believe he must have received from heaven. Yes.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome. If you're just joining us, it's CoreTV Primetime News. A quick reminder of our top stories. For more of our news and information, do visit our social media platform. facebook.com/CoreTV News, or Twitter handle CoreTV News NG. You could get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, Liver Space and News. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, is reacting to the sacking of over 3,000 workers by the Imo State Governor, Rochas Okorocha. Speaking at a media briefing, the president of the NLC describes the sack as illegal and improper. He further gave the Imo State Governor, Rochas Okorocha, 14 days to revert the sack or face the consequence of a total shutdown of economic activities in the state.
If Rochas ignores us, he ignores us at his peril. I'm repeating, whether we are working with anybody from anywhere, if he ignores us and this notice expires, I'm telling you that the banks dare not open, and if they open, they will give free money to Nigerians, because I'm happy their president is here. There will be no light in Imo, and there will be no fuel supply in Imo.
The shops will be shut down.
The shops will be shut down. So Imo State people, if Rochas is such a daring man, by now they should start stockpiling fruits. It's not an empty threat, and that's why we don't come out like you were asking, to say these things always. Or anybody in Imo State or anywhere should be able to know what is about to happen. Whether we are working in collaboration with anybody or the other, until such a time he resigns this decision. And in order not to display power, that was why we said additional 14 days for us. I'm not aware, and if you are aware, you tell me, that the workers were employed from radio announcement. They were not. There was advertisement, there was application, there was interview, and they were given appointment letters.
As the debate on the 2016 budget continues, some opposition members of the People's Democratic Party have been expressing displeasure about the budget received by members of the House. One question they are asking is, shouldn't the federal government bring it for ratification through the Appropriation Committee of the National Assembly if there were any such corrections to be made?
The budget has just been issued out. I just picked up my copy. I have not opened it yet. So by the time we look at it, we come in tomorrow into the chambers to talk about it. Issues will be raised. Well, like the speaker said, that later a communication from the president to do some corrections. And the members are saying corrections and amendments are the same thing. That the dictionary definition of amendment is to do corrections on things that are not done correctly. So by tomorrow, during or after the debate, I should be able to make a permanent or a fixed statement on what you have asked.
No. It is not right at all. You know, let us call a spade a spade. You cannot be coming through the back door and be telling and be fooling Nigeria. Nobody say you didn't have the right to correct any faction. You can bring as many as possible factions of the budget. You withdraw, represent, withdraw, represent. That is the normal thing. But for them to be coming in the back door to be doing something, that is not the kind of change they were preaching. They should tell the whole nation, okay, we made a mistake. No, that is not my position. Mr. President, this is not my position. The figure quoted in a particular aspect, I want to change it. Simple as ABC. It's allowed. It can be, but for somebody submitting a budget and somebody is bringing another faction in the pretend as if they are submitting the correct one given to us in the first day, it is not allowed.
Well, it's actually an unfortunate scenario. One would have thought that a government that has promised so much change would do something a bit differently and do something better than what they've done. We had an incident where the budget was circulated to be missing. People came out and said the budget was not missing, that it was intact, and then suddenly the president is writing, stating that he wants to correct the budget. And it's against our House rules and against the Constitution. Once the budget was presented before the House, it would have been said to have gone through first reading. The second reading would be deferred to committee level, where at the various committees the budget will be looked at. The ministers will come for budget defense. If there are any issues to be corrected, it's my view that those issues should be tackled when the ministers come for the budget defense.
With either coalitions of numbers that needed to be corrected, and that's it. There is no any amendment. If there's an amendment, there are process for amendment, and that was what the Speaker clearly said. And what transpired in the House, you could see democracy in action. Where members have been allowed to come out and air their own views and say the way they think things should be done. And at the end of the day, we were able to have an understanding and a way forward.
As the federal government begins intensifying effort to combat the spread of Lassa fever, Nasarawa State Governor Tanko Al-Makura advises residents of the state to report any suspected case of the deadly fever to appropriate authorities. Al-Makura, speaking after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammad Buhari at the Asarok Villa, highlights the necessity of reporting such cases. State House correspondent Abiola Oluwole has more on the story.
For months now, the resurgence of Lassa fever has been a major source of concern for policymakers in the country. Federal and state governments have been busy working out ways of not only curbing the spread, but ensuring that the disease is a thing of the past. Emerging from a closed-door meeting with President Buhari, Nasarawa State Governor says the fight against Lassa fever will be more successful with the support of local residents.
We have also sensitized and enlightened people against the spread of such disease, and also inform people about the signs and symptoms of such problems, so that in the event that you notice any of those signs, come to the nearest hospital and we take the patient to a place that we can isolate him for fear of getting the disease spread. So I think we are on the right track.
He maintains that the single case recorded in the state has been properly managed.
Lassa fever is endemic not only in Nasarawa State but quite a number of states in the Federation. In the last count, given the Minister of Health briefings, it appears close to about 17 states are struck by this endemic problem. Nasarawa is not an exception. We only had a case of only one case, and that has been very well handled in a way that we have quarantined and restricted that patient to a place where he is being given full and adequate attention.
He also says Nasarawa is exploring creative avenues to generate funds in the face of dwindling revenue in the country. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News.
As shortage of fuel persists in some parts of the country, the people of Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, seem to have not found an alternative way as they now patronize black marketers in the metropolis. While black marketers believe they are helping the public, the independent petroleum marketers blame the situation on the government, asking the government for an urgent intervention. Rashid reports. We bring you details of that story later. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has opted to refund a 35 million naira mandatory caution deposit to the Bureau de Change operators as part of the strategy to curb the excesses of the BDCs and stop the free fall of the naira in the country. While the Apex Bank will retain the 1 million naira licensing fee collected from the BDCs. The CBN, in a statement signed by Kelvin Amogo, Director of Financial Policy and Regulation Department, said that given the recent development in the operations of BDCs in the economy, the CBN has decided that the refund of mandatory caution deposit of 35 million naira to all BDC operators and the retention of 1 million naira licensing fee. The CBN asked all eligible BDCs to apply for refund of their caution deposit, attaching evidence of payment and bank transfer details. What this means is that patrons of BDCs from now on will be at the mercy of the operators, and where there is an infraction, the CBN may not step in to intervene on behalf of the customers. And also, we have that telecommunications company MTN Nigeria says it is considering settling out of court with the Nigerian Communications Commission over the 1.04 trillion naira fine imposed on it. Defense counsel Wole Olanipekun pleaded with the presiding judge, Mohammed Idris, to give parties 60 days to explore the option of settlement out of court. On the other hand, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, who was sued as the second defendant, told the court through his lawyer, Dipo Okpe-Shey, that parties had been finding it difficult to settle out of court. He urged the court to take it that all the court papers in the matter have been properly filed and served, and that the case is still ongoing. In his own reaction, counsel to the NCC, Yusuf Ali, argued that the maximum period allowed by the court rules was 21 days for parties to file and serve written addresses. After entertaining argument from all parties, Justice Idris adjourned to March 18 for report of settlement or hearing for the case. And we take another break, and when we come back, we bring you stories from outside Nigeria and sport.
Chima, what you do so?
Same market now.
Person when they buy the market, you don't get a receipt. What you do?
Which receipt? No be pocket money they go.
Hey, you didn't pay tax.
Who be tax?
Guy, all these health centers where they run, na tax o.
My brother, make I tell you. Good road, na tax. Security, na tax. Those school where your children they go, how you think say them they take pay the teachers? Brother, na tax. And if you no pay your tax, my brother, then go lock your shop.
Abeg, Tunde, where did they pay the tax?
Na for tax office now.
Carry me go there.
Who go? Abu, help us look shop, abeg.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
On the foreign scene, the Tunisian Interior Ministry has put in place a national overnight curfew in response to protest over unemployment, saying its national security is at stake. The restrictions beginning tonight follow attacks against public and private property. Authorities say only night shift workers and people needing urgent medical care will be exempted from the curfew. Protests over youth unemployment have spread from the northern region of Kasserine to towns and cities, resulting to damage of public and private properties. At least 42 migrants have drowned overnight in 2 separate shipwrecks in the Aegean Sea. The first boat struck rocks near Greek island of Famokosini, while the second overturned near Kalolinos, with many children killed. Furthermore, facts have emerged that more than 1 million migrants arrived in Europe illegally last year. And now to sport.
Power style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, now he takes Puyol with a flying lead.
Go taking them out in the lead and
In the world of sport, Tunisia held Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in Kigali on Friday to leave Group C open until the final day of proceedings. Coach Sunday Olise made 3 changes to his starting line, but Nigeria will need one at least a draw in the last game. Tunisia's hopes of reaching the quarter-finals also remain alive as they now have 2 points and face Niger in their last match. Roger Federer has set another record after sweeping past the player often compared to him, Grigor Dimitrov, in the 3rd round of the Australian Open. Federer became the first man to achieve 300 singles win at Grand Slams. The former Australian champion further stated that his 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 victory is very special to him and that he will try and do more. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder of our top stories. And on behalf of the entire news crew, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. My name is Omotayo Alo.